All right, you guys. So you're a sales rep right now, potentially, who is highly paid and you feel like you're really good, but you can't stop and think about what is next. Like you have this skill that makes you a lot of money now, but you know you can make more money, or you know you can have more freedom, or you know you can have a lot of different things. Well, this episode is exactly for you. And so Cole, a few years back was in your shoes, sales rep, doing really well, honestly better than most people. And he excelled to the next level through a sales agency. So if you're not familiar, Cole and I started a sales agency maybe 2 years ago at this time. I got my 50% bought out so I could focus on this brand because of sales, but he's still running it and they've done months upwards of 7 figures in a single month. So they basically run done for you outsourced sales teams, and he's gained a lot of leverage compared to being a one-man show sales rep. And so again, if you're the sales rep who wants to know what's possible, this is possible. It's not easy, it's not likely, but it is possible. So really good connection of mine, Cole. I'm hyped to bring you guys this episode. Wanted to bring it to you sooner, but it's here now. So before we get into this, please go down below and subscribe to our free newsletter, you guys. If you're not on it and you sell something to somebody, you're doing yourself a disservice, because everything that's working in any industry right now, we're pulling that far and wide from the internet, in addition to news, events, memes, tips, tricks, AI stuff. Everything that you need to know to fully understand what is working right now for sales professionals so you can make more money, or make the same money, work less, or make more money and work less, because that's what it's all about. We're not in sales to be salespeople. We're in sales because it's the vehicle to get us our life that we want. So you guys, before we get into this, take 10 seconds, go down below if you're not already, subscribe to our newsletter. It's free, always will be, always has been. And now let's get into the pod. All right, you guys, we are back. Another episode of Because of Sales podcast. In this episode, we've got Cole Angelle out of Houston, Texas. Absolute savage on the pod. So thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having me.
So I want to do the traditional thing where we kind of like give the backstory, build it up, and then talk about what you're doing here today. But before we give the backstory, can you just hit us with the elevator pitch on like what you're up to right now?
Yeah, primarily focused on the done for you sales and marketing agency, as you know, and trying to scale that up. We've had a lot of success early and just trying to double down and hopefully double in size next year is the audacious goal. Focused on that. My print shop is also like growing really fast. We have a ton of renovations and cool stuff I'm doing on that side of the business too. But yeah, man, just trying to scale and grow everything that we have right now.
You said next year trying to double the business. What would the revenue target be for doubling?
Over 20 million would be the revenue target. I mean, it's pretty crazy to think about doing like 8 figures in under 2-year company. So it's like, if we can do that in that time frame, like why not?
All right, so you guys heard it. We're going for the big 20 M's. So he knows a thing or two about selling. But what was it like? I don't know. I think it was 3 years ago where you were high ticket closing, just like ripping calls, getting paid well. And then you kind of evolved into sales agency, scaling that. How many people do you have now like selling in the agency?
Collectively across teams, it's got to be upwards of 50 plus people that we're paying on a monthly basis and counting. Like I have 2 or 3 new clients in onboarding right now. So that'll be more teams and more people, but I think over 50 at this point.
That's a lot of people. So you guys better pay attention to this one, man. You're going to learn something. Let's take it back, dude. I know you just came down for our event in Austin, Texas, gave a fire speech, which the audio got messed up on.
I can't replicate that, man. I'm sorry.
Bro was in the moment, but no, you gave a fire speech, kind of told the story about how you got into all this. I don't know if it was during college or right after, but you went straight to like insurance sales and kind of like cut your teeth there. Why did you even end up in insurance sales to begin with? Actually, I know your uncle, right, is like top producer, but why did you go in the sales path to begin with?
I always knew I wanted to do something in business. I was playing baseball in college. I really didn't care about school too much, but I went for a business degree because I was like, that's generic enough to where I can figure it out after that. And yeah, my uncle was a top State Farm agent in the country. It always told me that like former athletes do really well going and opening their own agency. And I wanted something that with increased effort, I'd be rewarded, like something that would have upside, like traditional salary type job. So I just went into insurance sales because I didn't really know what else I wanted to do. And it kind of led me and evolved me into this point. I think also like when you are forced to cold call for 8 hours a day for 2+ years, you become a lot desensitized to like people saying no to you or people not wanting to talk to you, and learning how to establish rapport really quickly and get somebody to want to give you the time of the day. So definitely helped me a lot. And then in my transition to high ticket sales.
Yeah, so I know you crushed insurance sales. You were like, I don't know if it was top rep in the office, but you've told me before you were doing well. Why did you decide to go from insurance to, I think you went and started your own business, but how'd you end up in the high ticket space?
Number one, I didn't like having to be in the office from 8:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, having someone tell me how much PTO time I can take and just time freedom and location freedom, and selling in a cubicle wasn't fun. So I knew I just wanted to get more freedom over my time and leverage. And I also knew I could make way more money. Like I was doing really well, but the way the comp structures are set up when you work within those types of agencies, it's not like some of these guys that hype up insurance sales, or at least that's not what I was doing when I was working in an agency. So like the income gap, I just knew I wanted to make way more money. So I started my business, like you mentioned, just to get out of there. And I started to have some success with it. But then also I was like, all right, my business is growing, things are going well. I have a lot of things that I'm going to need over time with this business. So I don't want to immediately have to draw from it and take income. I want to be able to reinvest into the company. I'm like an OG on money Twitter. Like I've just been on the Twitter for a long time, and I was paying attention to like what everyone was talking about and what everyone was doing. And I saw people talking about high ticket sales. And once I understood it, like conceptually, I figured it was something that I could do really well at and be able to make some like side income and not have to take from the business, and just, be able to live and still make good money.
Your first offer, I think it was like a business coaching one, right?
Yeah, business coaching to 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs.
From what I remember, you did like pretty well there. A lot of people that when they get into the high ticket space, they kind of have like some turbulence. Maybe they get on a bad offer. They don't start doing well right away. I mean, was that part of your journey through it at all? Or was it pretty much like from when you got in, you just caught your stride?
I think I stepped into a really good situation. Like I had a really good offer and opportunity. And then my sales manager at the time had exited multiple software companies before. He's now my COO in the agency. And so he was a really high level guy. The offer was good. So yeah, I was able to have some quick success. I think that doesn't probably happen if I don't come from insurance sales for 2 years. I mean, you know what it's like. Like imagine not making that much money and having to live on someone else's time frame. And then you find out I could sit at home, take Zoom calls and make 6 figures a year commission. It's like I was all in. I was hooked from the very beginning. So I was the type of guy that's like, I was never shy of like working really hard. So I was like, put as many, I don't know if I can cuss, put as many calls on my calendar as humanly possible and let me run it. Like simple as that.
You can cuss if you want to, man. It's a free platform. So I want to say you made more than 6 figures as a sales rep, which like in this space, there's a lot of people who do well. They do the 10K to 20K months. Like you hit some multi 6 figure years, just literally taking Zoom calls. I think it was like 2022 where you just ripped like really big year as a remote closer, right? After you did that, dude, what was like going through your mind? You're like, dude, I just made more money than most business owners, other sales reps combined. Were you just like, dude, do I just keep doing this? Were you like, I need to take the next bet on myself? Like what was going through your mind when you were doing taxes for that year?
Well, I wish I had a better CPA at the time, but that's a story for another day. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like nowadays, and I know I talked a little bit about this at my speech at your event, I feel like nowadays people want to progress so fast and want to get to the next thing super fast. And they think that it's instant gratification that they want. And I'm not encouraging people to slow down or like not try to progress faster, but I think you can't really cheat like time in the game. So I wasn't necessarily looking for the next thing, but I was trying to consistently add value to my current situation. I was the first rep that the guy brought onto the team. I helped, literally, we had no CRM, we had no deck, we had nothing. So I helped establish the entire sales process from scratch. I wasn't even paid initially to train all the new reps, but I did it anyways because I wanted to and like he asked me to. So I was like already adding value and expressing my interest in like excelling in the company and doing bigger and bigger things. So I made that very clear. I always had the mentality of like never satisfied. Like I'm obviously grateful and really happy with what I'm even achieving right now, but I also know that I can still do a lot more and I'm still continuously trying to strive to do more. So I wasn't one of those guys. I feel like that's what separates a lot of like really successful closers and people in general is they don't allow like one really good month to prevent them from having a good month the next month. We reset at 0. Like you still got more to accomplish. You're only good as your last day and your last month. You know what I mean? So I just kind of always had that mentality, and I just wanted to continue adding value. I wasn't necessarily looking for the next thing. It was more of like a feel thing. Like when I felt like the opportunity existed that I could go into potentially progress and do something different.
Yeah, I know you've showed me before like leaderboard screenshots that some of these teams would put together, and you had like multiple where you're like at the top 3, a lot of revenue close. What was like the top revenue close month that you did?
On that opportunity in 2022, I had a month where I closed 1.2 million by myself. I was the only rep at the time. Like there was one more rep who had just came on, but he was out of town at the time. And the founder had gone on a podcast, and it was like an investor group podcast, and I was selling an investment opportunity. And so we just caught a really good pocket of people that were super, super interested in what we were selling. And I was just slanging phone calls. This is back in 2022 before I was even on Zoom calls. Like I'm literally on phone calls selling 20 to $100,000 plus packages, would hang up the phone and be like, that's a deal. Like, and just all day long.
I was gonna say, so like, yeah, you were ripping phone calls, wasn't even Zoom calls. To close 1.2 million, like how many calls per day do you think you were taking, or like how many hours per day were you working? I know you had some assistants, right, that would help you with CRM and stuff, but like what was the workload like at that time?
I would probably start taking calls around like 9 a.m. and take calls all the way till probably like 6 p.m., 7 p.m. sometimes. But I was the type of guy, like if somebody's emailing me for a contract at midnight and I'm awake, I'm jumping on the computer and sending a contract. So the exact hours, I don't really know, but I was taking a lot of calls.
I know you and I had done that quite a bit, like starting up the agency before. Now that you have 50 people in the agency, about 50 people, are you still the guy that like is going to hit those 10 p.m. Zoom calls, hit those contracts late at night, or are you like, now I'll get to it tomorrow?
I mean, it depends on the situation. Like, I mean, I'm still very, very active, I would say. It depends on like what's going on. Like, not that long ago, I was in Europe for 16 days, and I think I hopped on like probably maybe 2 meetings during that 16-day time period. So like I have team members, system managers, all these different people that are helping obviously manage the day to day now. But I still like to have my fingerprints on everything as much as I can. So yeah, I mean, I would say it's case by case, but like if a potential new client that's gonna absolutely crush it with us wants to talk to me at 9 p.m. and I'm awake and available, then I'll make it happen.
You brought up a good point because you were in Europe and then I was there right after. So I literally went through the same exact thing where it's like different time zone, meetings are all crazy. But you just said in 16 days you jumped on maybe 2 meetings. Obviously you're texting and back and forth, but like how did you feel with like the whole agency over the course of those 16 days? Did you feel like, hey man, I hope they handle this, or did you have confidence that like everything's going to be good? Like what were your thoughts around that?
I mean, I had confidence it was going to be good, man. That's not the first time. Like in March of this year, which it sounds crazy to think that that was still this year. I don't know why it feels so long ago, but we all went to Japan. I think I was gone for like 17 days then, and I don't think I hopped on a single meeting that whole time. So I believe in my team. As you know, I have really high level managers. Like I pay my people really well. I have guys in the agency that make a lot of money because they're really high level guys. And so that comes with a trade off, right? Like some people want to maintain as much margin as humanly possible and maintain as much money as possible and barely pay their people. That's how you don't retain top talent. That's how you have people looking elsewhere for other opportunities. And that's how you have to be way more involved because you're not paying a player talent, right? So I think I was able to do that because I have really high level guys that are overseeing day to days on a lot of those teams. And that's what allows me to not necessarily have to be so ingrained in the day to day. But if I'm home in normal schedule, like I am because I just want to be.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to that too. Like the quality of the talent that is working on the team. But I'm curious from your perspective, man, because like I think you mentioned it a little bit earlier, and then we were talking before we started. But dude, a lot of the people on the team were like at one point in time, you know, equals to you. They were your boss, they were competitors, and now they're like all under the agency umbrella, like all working towards a common goal. Besides just paying people a lot of money, what do you think gets people to buy into the vision and be like, you know what, dude, even though I was Cole's boss 3 years ago, like I'm going to go work with him?
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of ties into what I talked about in my speech. Like how you conduct yourself in every environment is going to determine how people think about you. And when I worked alongside all of these people that I've worked alongside before that are working with me now, I think I, number one, did good business. I was enjoyable to work with and like a good guy in the way I approached my day to day. But then also, I think I exuded enough, you know, confidence that I know what I'm doing and I'm really good at what I do. And so I think that obviously helps like people buy in is like, you're not just some Joe Schmo who's, promising the moon and the stars. Like they've seen it in person, me actually do this stuff before. But I think also it's like, we can go further together mentality. Like I'm spending a lot of money to run the agency and a lot of money day to day on ads and things like that. Like I take all the risk, you know what I mean? Like when things don't go well, I could be in a big hole pretty fast. So they get the upside and the potential, which like I get clients all the time and I'll just call one of my guys and be like, yo, you got a client, like, are you down to manage this team? Like they didn't have to necessarily do anything. And that's another client that they can make significant amount of money from on a monthly basis just because the agency has a really good reputation. I have really good relationships and we're attracting these new opportunities on a consistent basis. So I think that's how is just like number one, rewarding them well, but number two, like, providing a good work environment. Like there's a lot of respect across the board. Like it's not like you're underneath me type of thing. It's how can you help provide value so we can all win together?
I think a really big part of this, even going down to the just being a sales rep, is the offer. Like the offer is such a big piece of it. If your offer sucks, I know we've both been on offers that put all this time up front into getting set up and then they flop and then we're like down, 10, 15K just in like team costs or software or whatever. But you guys are like consistently signing high quality offers, which I think is a really big part of as a closer or a sales agency. And I think that definitely helps retain talent because you've had closers make 50 grand in a month and managers make like 80, right? If I'm not mistaken, I don't think I've seen any ads. I've never seen any cold emails while I was involved or after. How are you guys going about signing just like more high quality creators or businesses and then retaining those?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a testament to doing really good work. It's like something I talked about also. I have sub 4,000 followers between Twitter and Instagram. Like, I need to be a lot better at social media. I just haven't taken it very seriously up to this point. But I've done really good work. I have a pretty good network in the space. And I think that we have a really good brand reputation because we do good work. So that's allowed us, like, to this day, I've never sent a single outbound message, cold email, ad, or anything like that to acquire a client. It's all really good relationships, word of mouth, referrals, relationships with, like, think about who your ICP is and who works with your ICP that's not in direct competition with you. And how can you create something that's mutually beneficial to where you can help their people and they can get rewarded for doing so. So I'd say that's another way to think about how to create referral partners and things like that without getting into too much detail. But my point is just doing good work, having good reputation and good relationships has allowed us to grow really fast.
I mean, now you mentioned team is about 50. Aside from people just selling, there's people in more like support style roles that like kind of help you where you might not really be as interested or might not be your strong suit. So I want to ask, like, what do you feel is your strong suit, like your favorite and thing that you're best at doing in the context of this agency model? And then also like, what is the weak point and like, how have you made it not a weak point by hiring someone in to do it?
Yeah, I think my strong suit is ultimately like building relationships with people, getting out there, selling new potential clients, but then also offer and sales strategy on the existing clients. I was really good at sales. I was top performer on every team I ever sold on, and I've seen and done a lot of different things across a lot of different offers. So I like to have my input on the actual sales arguments and sales processes of how we're conducting the calls, because that's ultimately what leads to the biggest results for us. So that's something I really enjoy doing and that I still do to this day is try how can I help my guys operate at the highest level, which then in turn makes them more money and us more money. And then secondly, just being the face, like going out there, making relationships, going to more events, stuff like that, and building connections with people that could be potential clients. And then obviously I'm the one who's taking the calls to close those potential clients. And in terms of things I'm not good at, I would say, as you know, like I'm not a systems guy. I'm not like a tech guy or operations guy by any means. So I have really good people. Like I said, my COO has exited multiple software companies before. He also has managed entire sales organizations. So he has a good mix of knowledge over sales and the processes and things that go behind it, but also a tech and software background. And then beneath him, we have head of ops, admin VAs, engineers, AI devs, copywriters. It's a whole, ecosystem of team underneath him that also helps us do what we have to do. So yeah, man, I think it's whatever is not your area of genius or something that doesn't produce the highest leverage result that you do with the least amount of effort, you should outsource, in my opinion, or get other people that can do the job better than you and reward them for doing so.
At what point do you think, like you mentioned a lot of titles that are not sales titles in that like ops side. How did you know that you needed those people instead of just like, hey, I need a better closer or more setters or something like that?
I didn't build this to be like a lifestyle business. Like I wanted it to be a real company, a real organization, a real infrastructure and like real a legitimate business that could be operate long term. And I think if you operate from that mentality, you don't try to band-aid things together. Like you look at it as a more systematic approach of how can we build this out and create systems and SOPs and people that own these things that can focus on those things. So I think that's something that I never struggled with was like the art of delegation. Like I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, they try to do everything themselves when it's like if they just focused on what they did best and, got people who are better than them at the other things around them to focus on that, they could go way further, way faster. I would just say I knew that it's not realistic to operate this many different offers with how intrinsic we get with our clients without people beneath us that are doing different things within the business.
Yeah. For everyone that's listening, we're going to have a mix of salespeople that are both in this industry and not in this industry. We're going to have some business owners and maybe just like agency owners and stuff like that. You mentioned that you go to some in-person events. Do you think that despite this space being remote and the ability to like make money from wherever, the laptop lifestyle, do you think that going to events is like worth what it costs in like tickets, airfare, hotels, and when it comes to like signing new clients and like getting in rooms, or is that just kind of like a nice to have thing?
I mean, I don't think it's like required by any means. And I think I'm not going to act like I've been to a ton of them, but the ones that I have, I've had tangible results from. Like I've actually had tangible relationships, deals, clients, things that have come from those. And I didn't go into those events with that mentality or that goal. It just kind of naturally happened. Like I went to the Japan event. I met one of the guys who spoke at that event, as you know. He then invited me to his event later this year in San Diego. I go into that event, and because I had a good relationship with him, like I didn't have to pay the ticket to go to the event. I went to the event and I met a relationship there that I'm now running their sales team. And it's a really big company with a really good reputation. And actually, two clients I signed from that San Diego event. And I wasn't even going to go to that event. I ended up going last minute because I was like, dude, I really need to go. This would be cool to go check out. And that's two clients that can add a lot of value to the agency that I got just from going to that event.
How many clients, if you had to guess, like, are you guys running right now?
I think with the ones in onboarding, we'll have 9 offers now.
I've talked to like, I mean, all these people too, like different sales agency owners. Everyone has a different structure. One thing I did want to talk about more is how you'll like integrate marketing and sales, not just sales. But I did want to talk about how you kind of structure these offers. Like if someone's listening to this and they're like, hey dude, I'm a closer, I want to become manager and then maybe like manage 2 offers or whatever. If I remember right, like you'd basically go and see what kind of management talent has space and then you'll assign them as like the account head. Do you still kind of run the same model where it's like give manager multiple and then build the team under them, or do you do something different?
Yeah, I mean, I don't approach it with like give them multiple out of the gates by any means. It's kind of like you have to show you can handle that, obviously, and show that like there's trust built up, that you know how we operate, you understand the systems and everything. So that's kind of naturally evolved with the guys that I've been working with the longest time, and I know that they can handle it because it's also like we set our managers up to be really successful. Like we are big components of my salespeople need to be selling, my setters need to be setting, my admin people need to be adminning, and my managers need to be managing. Meaning anything that's not that, we need to have systems around that they can do, right? So like my managers have an entire ops team, so they never have to deal with bugs, any tech issues, anything like that. There's systems for that. If we want to submit SMS and email blasts and do activation campaigns to our pipelines, we have a whole landing page dedicated to that where closers can go in and submit their blast requests, and then just systemized approach to how managers can approve that. We have AI call review bots that's reviewing every single call, not only for performance, but also for compliance. That then goes into a dedicated Slack channel where the managers have full summaries of every single call, as well as comparisons against one call closes, right? So I say that to say, without all of that, it probably would be a lot harder for a manager to manage 2, potentially 3 teams at a high level, because it does require a lot of day-to-day insight, as you know. But with all the things we have around them to empower them to just like do what they need to be doing to get the teams performing at the highest level, alongside me and Pat and my COO and the rest of the team around them, it allows them to still be really effective and successful at managing multiple teams.
All right, you guys, quick break in this pod with Cole to talk about our sponsor, which is the Serial Sales Community. So the Serial Sales Community is actually a business that I was running alongside starting this agency with Cole. And it is a business that focuses on helping people like you, assuming you're a salesperson, break into the world of 1099 appointment setting and closing, the world that I was in personally, that I'm still in, the world that Cole was in, that he's still in, a pretty dang good one. So if you're interested in being on the calendar and taking inbound calls for people that know how to generate a lot of leads and need help taking calls. We're talking coaches, consultants, agencies, service providers, communities, memberships, boot camps, some software companies. It's 2025. Anyone who posts content and drives leads or can run ads to drive leads, they need a sales team. Okay. Now, a lot of this is 1099. It's a little bit different than the W-2 with heavy base and benefits, but there's pros and cons, right? I'm not saying this is for everybody. But if you feel like this is for you, like it was for Cole, like it was for me, or like it was for honestly a lot of the people that I interview on this podcast, go down to the second link in the description. There's a video there on that page. You can learn more. And if you decide to chat with our team, mention Because of Sales, we'll give you 5% off any membership you choose. So thank you for listening to this. Now let's get back to the pod with Cole. What's like the biggest thing that you've learned? You learned how to close. You did it well. You could teach someone how to close. You learned how to manage a sales team. You could teach someone how to manage that. But like when it comes to you actually, aside from just selling more, or managing a sales team, but like building a company that does that, what's like the biggest thing that you've learned? Like you just mentioned, I need my closers closing, setters setting, managers managing. Like I feel like that's something you don't learn until you're at kind of like the point where you're at, which is like you might still be very involved with some of these teams, but like the highest leverage thing for you to do is not be reviewing sales calls, right? Or any of that kind of, lower level stuff. So like what's something as you've gotten bigger that you learned from, I guess, maybe trial and error or like anything as you've been growing the agency?
I think it's just like anything else, man. You add to your toolbox over time. Like I didn't know a lot of the things I know now before we got into this, but you kind of have to start somewhere and then you just learn over time and iterate from there. I think that's the biggest thing, is going into it with the mentality that I don't know everything and being open to change and adjustments as you go. Because what got you to $1 million is not going to get you to 5 million. What got you to 5 million is not going to get you to 10 million, and so on and so on. So you have to adapt and do things differently to get to a different result. And so I think just approaching it that way. Also, it's like time in the game. Like if I hadn't been around, I've been on teams that have done $2, $3, $4 million a month before I ever got into managing teams. So I've seen large organizations. I've seen what those look like. And it's also what I talked about at the event is like, while I was a sales rep, I was already paying attention to what the entire ecosystem looked like. Like, how are these people driving traffic? What are these leads seeing before a sales call? What's the pre-call, post-call, confirmation page, all the different things that go into the process? How's back-end fulfillment? How are we handing people off from sales to fulfillment in the most seamless way possible? I was paying attention to all the things around the sales process already and learning. And that allowed me to like step into this and have success faster, I think, because I already kind of knew a lot of that stuff.
Right now, I'd imagine like not just management, but leadership is probably a pretty important quality, right? Like the way you show up, the way that people see you, and the way that you're working and all that. But like, is there something right now that's front and center that you as an individual are trying to work at or become better at?
I mean, I think that's a big thing. If I didn't have a good work ethic and if I didn't show up and like show how much I care about this, and now I'm trying to drive us to the next goals and things like that, then probably the people underneath you are not going to care as much about it, right? Because, everyone leads from the top, right? They buy into the vision because you're bought into the vision and you're exuding that in your efforts every single day. So I think for me, it's just, like I said, it doesn't matter what I accomplished last month. It doesn't matter what I accomplished last year. It's like I have to show up every single day and continue to drive the ship forward and set the tone for what I expect across the entire team so that everyone kind of follows that. But for me personally right now, I got asked this before. It's like, what's your next move? And for me, it's like, I just need to keep doing more of what I'm already doing at a higher level and I'll be just fine. You know what I mean? So I just need to continue going deeper, learning more. How can I make my offers perform better? How can I add more high quality offers that we can scale up? And, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can just keep doing what we're doing.
I mean, I make a lot of content, whether it's for this channel or my own personal. And like, yeah, I've been invited to a lot of like masterminds, groups, events. And it's like, oh, you're going to meet people and you can learn this thing or whatever. It's like right now, I just need to focus on what's working. The highest leverage thing for me to do right now is to just do more of what I already know works and make it better, more efficient, more profitable, whatever. And I feel like, I don't know, bro. We talked about like a little bit of software. We talked about a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Do you have like shiny object syndrome still? Or are you like super locked in on just like scale this?
No, I think it's because I also have diversification already. Like I said, I own a print shop, branding business, like that's still growing. I still work towards that on a daily basis. I'm trying to learn like multifamily and stuff like that and investments and things like that. That's not necessarily like shiny object syndrome. That's just like trying to build wealth and learn more things. But I think it's because I know that with my skill set and my experience, I am doing pretty much, to my knowledge, the highest leverage thing that I could possibly be doing with this toolbox of skill sets that I have. So I already am in the vehicle I know I need to be in, and time and what's happened has already kind of shown me that. So it's not hard for me to not look elsewhere. Like I already know what I'm doing. I enjoy what I'm doing. I wake up every day and love working with the guys that I work with and the vision that we're working towards. And so, yeah, it's easy for me to just kind of focus on the main thing and keep driving all the ships forward.
Whenever I was like involved, we had about 30 people on the team. Now you have 50. I'm curious, like, as you've grown from 30 to 50 or just like less to more people, has your general workload, has it like kind of stayed the same? Has it increased? Has it decreased? Like, I'm curious what that looks like with the growth.
Yeah, and I might be underestimating how many people. It might be more than that. As you know, Craig handles all the commission payouts and everything, but it goes in ebbs and flows, I would say. Like the past couple weeks have been really, really busy for me because we've been onboarding new clients. Like I have a lot of people coming to us trying to work with us right now, which is a good thing. So that's taken up a lot more of my time is like I'm kind of the liaison between the sales manager, the ops team, and the client to getting those clients launched and like making sure everyone is doing what they need to do to get that progressed and get us rolling so we can start making money from the client, get the client rolling. So I've had a lot more to do the last couple of weeks, just like making sure that we get these new clients off the ground and then obviously focusing on my existing ones. But it slows down sometimes and I have more time on my hands. It all just depends, man. But whatever's required at the end of the day. So I don't know.
So if you go on a trip though, it sounds like, hey guys, I'm going to be out. Like, it's not going to burn down without you. But at the same time, it's like, dude, I'd rather not just be sitting on my ass. Like, I want to go and find clients, grow the business if you can, right?
I hate being out of my routine. I was legitimately in Europe and I was in Paris and like I had to literally sit there and look at myself in the mirror while I was working out at the gym and be like, dude, you need to chill out. Like you're in Paris right now with your fiance. Like this is awesome. You're in a cool place right now. Like try to enjoy the moment because I was legitimately getting mad. I was like, I want to go home. I want to be back in my routine. I want to focus on my work. Like I just don't really like getting out of routine for a long periods of time, which is probably why I won't go on that long of a vacation again. But you sometimes you got to still like, enjoy the roses and step back and like realize how far you've come and like have gratitude towards that. But yeah, I just like being in my routine and just grinding, honestly.
Yeah, I felt that too. I was asking you for tips on, was it Positano, Amalfi Coast, whatever, all the stairs and shit. You weren't lying, man. But I was like sitting out there and we were like on the balcony. We had a nice spot. And I was like, dude, I got to like enjoy this a little bit. Like, it's the first time I'll be here. I don't know when I'll be here again, if I'll ever be here. Like, I got to kind of put the content or put the social stuff like on the back and just like soak this in, you know?
Yeah, I had to try to tell myself the same thing because it's like that's the whole reason you got into this in the first place, right? To have the freedom to go do stuff like that. And like we're extremely blessed to be able to do stuff like that. But I think that's what allows us to get to this point, anyways, is because that's how we're wired mentally, is that we just want to, focus on what we're doing and kind of lock in.
Yeah. I'm curious with you, like, all right, so you said way in the beginning, you're like, yeah, goal is keep growing, double the business next year. At a certain point, obviously you can make more and more and more money, but like, is there an end goal that is not just growing the business and cash flowing the business? And if so, like, does that happen at a certain revenue mark, or is it just like, dude, sole focus right now, nothing else, grow the business, cash flow, and keep doing that?
Yeah, I mean, I have no intentions of like trying to do something differently or like exit or anything like that. It's way too soon, man. I feel like I just need to continue focusing on what we're doing now. Like I said, there's not really anything else that I want to be doing. So I'm not really pressed to try to speed that process up necessarily. Because at the end of the day, if that ever did become something that I wanted to do, getting bigger and more profitable and making more money would only help what that would look like potentially. So yeah, man, I'm just head down, focus on grinding and doing what we're doing. I just feel like, and this is maybe like just my mentality, but I feel like still we're just scratching the surface in terms of what we're capable of doing.
So right now, we haven't talked about too much, but you're kind of all in the high ticket space. And for those that aren't familiar with the high ticket space, that is like online digital products, services. People are usually running ads or organic content, driving inbound leads to, it could be coaching, consulting, services, B2C, B2B. It could almost be anything under the sun that you can sell for a high ticket price point, which is like, I would say high ticket starts at maybe 2K and above, but most of what you're selling is like 5K, 10K, 15K, and that's how you scale. But I'm curious, do you see yourself in the agency venturing into other niches? Like I know there was talk of like way back in the day, like maybe trying out an insurance play. Like you have what it takes to like scale sales talent, right? So like, have you thought about deploying that in the insurance space, in the real estate space, in other spaces?
Not necessarily right now, but I would say that a couple of our clients that are either in onboarding or that we just launched with recently, we have deal structures in place to where we can be rewarded ongoing, not just eat what you kill every single month. So we started to build out some like MRR potential and like different ways to grow that way, which I feel like kind of accomplishes the same thing as to what you're referring to. It comes back to what we just got done talking about. It's like, why try to venture out and do something differently when I could just do more of what's already working kind of thing. It's not that I'm not open to exploring those things. It's just like kind of naturally happening that a lot of the similar type things are coming towards us. And it's like, if you can repeat the same systems and processes to achieve the same type of results, why not replicate that across, different offers? Because it gives us diversification. Like did one offer, the marketing isn't good for a week or something like that. Like we have enough diversification across the agency now to where it doesn't hurt as much.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about this. So we're talking about, just doing more of what's already working. No need to really change it outside of that. But the nature of what you do is you run outsourced sales teams. Some of them you're just a sales team. Some of them you're doing marketing and sales, even going as far to like put your own credit card on the ad spend. I wanted to talk a little bit about as you start to charge more for more services or because you're more established, kind of talking about that balance of like starting out in the beginning, it's harder to sign clients because you're less experienced and you can't charge that much, but then slowly working to where it's like there's a lot of demand and you can charge a lot.
Mhm.
How do you think you were able to get there? I mean, and let's just call it like 2 years time going from like me and you splitting 4% management role on like some startup company to like, oh no, we're going to charge the biggest name in the space, like a premium because we're the best and they want to work with us. Like, how do you think that's come about?
Yeah. I mean, I think like at this point currently, like we have so much results and like social proof. And typically, like I said, these people are coming off of somebody referred them and told them we're fucking awesome. Or, somebody told them that we absolutely crush it for them, or they see things online or whatever the case may be. So there's obviously a lot of built up trust coming into the call. And we're not just someone random they just, found online and booked a call with. So that obviously helps. But we're at the point now, and I mean, I tell the people this too, and it's not to sound cool or to lie or anything like that. Like, we don't need more clients. Like, if we take you on, it's because I align with you ethically. I think you have a really good product or service. You seem like a good guy, and I think we can scale this and have a lot of success together. And then you're going to have to agree to terms that make sense for us because of what we do, like you just mentioned, because we are paying for ads on some of these teams and we do take a significant rev share, we are able to make a lot of money with less clients. So, because of that, I'm not going to take you on for a super low percentage and to come back to you in 3 months because I'm not making any money and try to renegotiate. So I feel like that's something we've done good from an early on, but obviously now we come from a different place because it's like we don't really necessarily need another client and typically they really want to work with us. So it's a little bit easier now, but it's to the point where like I always kind of had that mindset. Like I don't want to take on a deal at a super low rev share and then we're not making any money and we're just like don't even care as much about the client. I don't think that's good for either party. So I try to make sure incentives are aligned and I'm very transparent about that on these conversations and calls. And they're like, dude, you're more expensive than so and so. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, like at the end of the day, you're either going to pay our fee and work with us. And if not, and you want to work with somebody else, then I hope you get a good result. But if not, you're going to have to come back to me and I might charge you more at that point.
You're kind of at the point, dude. And the way that I see it is like, it's harder for these business owners to find someone good at what you do that can actually offload that, like the whole sales function, so they don't have to worry about it, than it is for you to find businesses that can scale. With that positioning, you can really leverage it pretty well.
No, I mean, that's true. I mean, we literally, we'll do more than some small businesses do just in setup fees this month from people paying to just engage with us, right? That obviously wasn't the case in the very beginning, but that happens when you start to build up authority in the space. You come from a position of not from need, but like from a, hey, if this makes sense and we mutually align, then cool, let's work together, let's make a lot of money. If not, that's completely fine too. We're going to continue doing what we're doing tomorrow regardless. So when you can operate from that type of a abundance, like mindset and approach, then you can kind of name the terms that you're comfortable with. And if it doesn't align, then it's probably a good thing for both parties.
Do you guys have someone who does recruiting yet, or are you still really involved in that process?
We have systems and processes for it, and we actually are in the process of hiring somebody that's like, that is their sole focus is recruitment and partnerships. We're way further along in terms of like systematic approach to recruiting right now than we used to be. We've just had a lot of success from like network, word of mouth, referrals, like top reps that come work with us, you know, we can incentivize them of like, hey, do you know someone else that you sold with that has knowledge over XYZ that would want to come and work in our organization? And we can pay you if they stay for X amount of period of time. Like there's different ways to approach it because typically your best talent is already selling on something else, right? And I'm not going out and specifically trying to poach people from different places necessarily, but it's not hard to attract top talent when we can like provide security in the high ticket space, which doesn't really exist. Like there's a lot of reps that are on an offer right now. And if that offer fell apart tomorrow, like they would be back to the drawing board unless they're in like a community like yours or do something like that. They're going to struggle to find another opportunity if they don't have a really good network or if they're not in some type of a group or something like that. If they come in my agency and they crush it for me and they do a really good job and I enjoy working with them, if God forbid something happens with that offer, I can have them selling on something else tomorrow. So that helps.
The reason I asked about the recruiting is because I know there's a lot of sales reps listening to that. Well, also, I was just genuinely curious if you guys have like outsourced that, or because it's, dude, that's a time consuming part of it and it's expensive, right? Like it's expensive if you get it wrong. But for the sales reps listening, man, whether they're setters, closers, SDRs, account executives, whatever, what are some things that you'll see in people after reviewing so many applications, so many interviews, and hiring people and seeing people make, 50K plus per month as a sales rep? What are some kind of like unspoken things that if you see this in a person or you get a hint that they operate this way, you're more likely to give them a shot? I'm not talking about like, oh yeah, this person closed $10 million, like I might want to hire them, but like if this person does this little thing that I catch, like that's usually a green flag or something like that.
I mean, as you know, probably like at this point, I'm not going to claim I'm always right, but I can click on a Loom video and in the first like 10 seconds, know whether I want to click off that Loom video or keep watching it and this guy might be solid or this girl might be solid. That's just being in the space a long time. Like first impression, how do you present yourself visually? What's your background look like? How do you speak and present yourself? Then does your experience translate to something I'm trying to hire for? I mean, as you know, we've taken a lot of chances on like for setter specifically for people that have zero high ticket experience or knowledge. But if they come to me vetted off source or they exude work ethic and competence and like willing to put their head down and grind and want to excel in their career, then I'll give somebody a chance. Like at the end of the day, we've had people come off like no high ticket experience, make 30K in a month as a setter. So it's like some of your best people have never done the thing before, but if you can train them up properly and they have the work ethic, then they can be really successful. So I would just say it's an eye kind of for talent. And then it's also relative experience. And then it's also like, if someone comes on the call and like, oh, I can only take 4 calls a day or this, and this, and they don't have like, I'm a killer. Like when I was a sales rep, dude, give me as many calls as humanly possible because I wanted to make as much money. If that's not your approach, you probably need to go collect a salary and just like check in and check out because this is probably not the right industry for you.
You said 30K as a setter?
Yeah, yeah. That's not normal by any means, to be clear, but it happened. Yeah, his setter made more money than a lot of closers in the agency because one of our other setters was out of town for like 2 weeks because he had a baby, or was off for like 2 weeks because he had a baby. So yeah, he got all the volume, and yeah, we were crushing at that time. So he had a really good month.
He was like a college kid, right? I know who you're talking about. Maybe some sales training, no real experience, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, it came off a vetted referral. Somebody that we respect and that we know in the space said, yo, my cousin, I've been training him. I think he could do well. Would you guys give him a shot? Yeah, cool. Let's do it. Like, as you know, another guy from your community, no high ticket sales experience. You told me he was a solid dude. I put him in touch with the manager. We hire him. He made 10K a month as a setter in his first month. So that's why relationships, again, are so important because if you can get somebody that I trust their opinion of you to vouch for you, we'll probably give you a shot just off the referral.
I wanted to spin back on that and put that into perspective. 30K as a setter, because there's people listening to this. Our audience is far and wide, different industries, levels of experience, but we have a lot of people who have been in sales for a long time, like 10, 20 years, directors. And some of those people have probably never even seen half of that number. And we're talking about a kid, I don't know if he was like a frat kid, but basically no sales training, got connected to the right person, the right time, right offer, and cashed $30,000 in a month just setting appointments, inbound appointments
Yeah,
too.
inbound appointments. Yeah.
So You guys need to think bigger if you're not there.
I mean, dude, he's super grateful. He worked super hard to change his life. Like, I think he moved to New York from where I believe he was in Georgia at the time. Moved to New York, living an incredible life. I mean, we've had guys also that come in and came in on an offer that wasn't, let's just say, wasn't cranking at the time. Then we put them on a different offer. They're cranking now. Like, it's really cool. That's something that also, like, I love is just seeing people have like a lot of success and then like that impacting their life. Because, like, I said it at the event, I have to keep going. I have 50 plus people that are having conversations in their house with their families and their significant others about their financial future and their plans around something that I'm directly correlated to of how much money they make. So if I don't show up or if I'm not putting in the effort, then I'm not only letting myself down, but I'm letting all the people that are counting on us down as well.
Honestly, that was always kind of the coolest part about it to me. It's like, yeah, you know, we could say we did this much revenue, this much profit, this, that. But like being able to say, it's like, dude, I got like 20 people that make $15,000 a month or $10,000 a month or more, like working directly for me, and that like they afford to live in nice places and have families, have kids. Like that is super cool. So we talked a lot about hiring though, like finding killers, appointment setters making 30 grand in a month. I want to talk about firing or getting rid of people that are not cut out or phasing them out. Or I would be surprised if you haven't had to do that yet for, you know, people that aren't performing. What's like the standard process for you? Like if you know that, hey, this person's performance consistently isn't where we need it, or they're just a bad fit for the team, how do you kind of go about that? Do you give them like time period to improve? Do you have a talk with them? And then, you know, some people are more forgiving than others, but when it comes to actually being like, you know what, this isn't working out, like how do you manage those conversations?
We've been kind of lucky up until this point. I feel like we've churned a lot less people than from what I've heard a lot of other organizations do. Like I think we know a mutual person who's hired like, remember he told us some crazy fucking number of people that they hired and turned through. That's not been my experience, thank God, because that would be a nightmare. But it's definitely happened because I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to standards, right? Like I'm a big sports guy. If you show up at, you know, Alabama when Nick Saban was the coach and you weren't doing what was expected of the team and the organization around you, then you weren't going to be there very long. Like the people who are meant to be there are going to rise to the top and rise to the challenge, and the people that aren't are just going to fizzle themselves out, right? So I wouldn't say it's like an exact SOP or process. It's like, hey, these are the clear-cut KPIs that we expect. Here's the dollar per book call metrics that we're talking about. Here's the close ratios that we expect across the team. Obviously, there's going to be a ramp up period. Like I don't expect you to come in here and just start crushing it from day one, even though I've seen it a lot of times. And if you're underperforming, we're going to work with you. It's the manager's job to do one-on-ones with you. We'll do role plays. We do training calls. There's a lot of things we're going to do to help get you there. If you're just not putting in the effort and you're not performing, then we probably would have a lot less leniency on that. But if it's like a good person, I can tell they're actually genuinely are trying, they're working hard, and we do believe that they're capable of being successful, we're going to pour into them as much as possible to get them to rise up. But it becomes at a certain point where it's like, as you know, I mean, we're an agency. Number one, it's either A, my reputation if you don't perform because you're a direct representation of me, or B, you're messing with my profitability. Like I can't lose money. So you have to rise to the expectations or otherwise it's just not going to be a good fit. So it's not fun conversations, but sometimes you have to have that in business.
There's this, I guess, this saying, but this like, I don't know, ideology out there where it's basically like in the moment, the bad stuff seems a lot worse than it is, and the good stuff seems a lot better than it is. But if you zoom out over the course of a long time, it's like there are little speed bumps, and nothing is typically ever as significant as you think it is in the moment. I know there's probably been moments for you in the agency where it's like, dude, we just had a record day, or we just like maybe we lost a client, like the heavy moments, right? Do you feel like you've kind of been able to normalize like when those things happen? Do they like affect you? Do they get you in moods, or do you get like super pumped when good things happen? Like I'm curious with that stuff. Cause I know, I mean, you told me something where you're running ads and Amex wants to lock your cards and then the whole team is just like, what the hell? Like something like that could be like, dude, we're screwed. But like, I'm curious like how you manage that now.
I feel like that's business in general, man. That's being an entrepreneur. One day the world's literally falling apart, and the next day you're the king, bro. You're just fucking crushing. It's like that's just how it is. So I think I'm desensitized to it at this point. I mean, as you know too, like I wasn't used to being the one paying for ads. Now I'm slapping my Amex for Rolexes per day. You know what I mean? So it's a whole different mentality. A couple slow days go by, I could be down a lot of money fast, right? But then last month on one of my teams, we're having like a slower middle of the month. we do $203,000 on the last day of the month, right? So that's obviously like incredible. That's awesome. We get all excited, right? But you can't get too high, you can't get too low. At the end of the day, you got to maintain your expectations. And I think over time, you become a lot desensitized to a lot of it, to where now stuff doesn't affect me as much. But yeah, I mean, one day you're like, the world's falling apart, the business is falling apart. And the next day you're like, dude, we're crushing. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah. No, so hopefully for you guys listening, whether you're sales rep, manager, business owner, you take away a nugget or two from this and go and apply it to your own situation and it helps. I want to talk more now about like you, Cole, as just like a dude scaling a business, trying to maximize your life at the same time. First thing that just came top of mind, dude. I know you were talking about a nice little Lamborghini Urus, maybe something down the road. I know we were just joking around, but you got any big like aspirational purchases or anything that you're trying to look out for?
Not really, man. I think I've been always pretty good about like delaying gratification. I think if you're a sales rep listening to this, that's another thing it's not sexy or cool to talk about, but I'll talk about it is like, dude, I mean, I was not making a lot of money at State Farm when I was selling insurance. If I was not smart financially and didn't set myself up to have like a foundational savings or money that I could count on with not making new money, maybe I never quit my job and go all in and then go into business and online and then come into high ticket sales and then get to this point, right? So because I was disciplined enough financially, I set myself up to take a bigger risk. I've done that multiple times throughout my career. And I wouldn't be able to take those bets or those risks if I wasn't smart financially. So that's what I would say. The first thing, like, don't try to impress anybody. Delay gratification as much as you humanly possibly can. Don't change your lifestyle as long as you can. And then you'll come from a different place of like a really good foundation. So for me, no purchases really on the horizon. I mean, I might buy a house at some point. I'm just trying to decide where I want to live at the moment. But no, I mean, I like nice stuff, but even at this point, trying to delay gratification. I know the longer I can delay gratification, I could not have to worry about, things again, right? So that's what I'm doing right now.
No, for sure. Well, let me ask, I don't know, something that's maybe more useful because I just thought, I don't know, cool thing to talk about. I actually was curious if you were still kind of eyeing that.
I got to figure out my house situation. I can't be pulling up in a Lambo in this house I'm in right now. So not that I'm living in the trenches over here, but I want an AP. There's a lot of things that I want, and I'm going to put them in order of importance, right? So I'm going to figure out my housing situation first. Then I'll look into a new vehicle. Then maybe I'll look into a watch. Like I'm just going to do things in like the right order.
Well, that's why I asked too, because it's like, obviously business is going well. It's like, it's not to the normal person that's like, wow, Lamborghini Urus, that sounds crazy, or AP. But like, dude, when you've been running a good business and been making good money for a while, it's like, dude, those things are attainable, right? To be more like relatable, maybe on more of like the wealth building side, just being smart with your money. What are some of the things that your cash flowing agency, what are some of the things that you are doing to like be smart with your money, delay gratification? You don't have to get into like details, but if you want to share anything that like maybe people could look towards like when they get to that point.
I'm not going to act like I like sit there and look at spreadsheets and stuff all day and like budget that way, because at this point I don't think I like necessarily need to do that. But I'm not recklessly spending money. I also have systems around investment strategy. Like I dollar cost average Bitcoin every single day. I have been doing that for a while. I have money that goes into my Schwab on autopilot every single month. So I'm investing without even thinking about it by creating systems around that too, because there's too much going on to like not have systems around that too. So I would say like start putting money away, start creating systems around even the way you invest and the way you strategize, the way you're going to build wealth. And then also just live within your means. At the end of the day, you don't have anybody to impress. Like if you shouldn't be living in a sick penthouse, then don't live in a sick penthouse. Like it's that simple. I feel like a lot of people don't want to like live within their means and be smart. And at the end of the day, you don't have anyone to impress is what I would say. Like hopefully people can see that as like, if I wanted to, I would already have the Lamborghini and the AP, but I don't. And I easily could, but I don't because I'm trying to outlast everybody in the space. I'm not trying to impress people to buy my course, you know?
No, for sure. What is it like? I know we've talked about it a little bit. Like you're in Houston. There's obviously some people like, Houston's a big city. There's some successful people out there, but you're not like in the middle of a hub of just like all these people doing this, like Miami or some of these other places. What's it like, when you get off the computer and you just go and you Cole in Houston, you go talk to like family, your friends, whatever. Are you with a lot of people that are kind of doing similar stuff in terms of pushing businesses, having success, or do you kind of play it low key? I'm curious, what's life like out there?
I kind of play it low key, to be honest. Not really. That's one of the downsides I would say for me right now of living in Houston and why I'm potentially looking back at Austin. I want to preface too, like I've obviously been able to do this living in Houston, right? So it's not required by any means. But I do think getting around people that are doing similar things to you and like, working towards similar missions can't hurt you as long as you're smart. Like if you get around the wrong people, obviously you could start doing the wrong things and go down the wrong path. That could happen too. So no, man, I'm super low key. I'm a little bit older, man. So I just chill with my girl, chill with my family, work out, go to the gym, play pickleball, kind of stay low key. And then I travel a good amount. I've been to like 7 countries this year. So when I want to get out or go do something, then I'll just go plan a trip or something like that.
Dude, speaking of pickleball, I meant to tell you before, I actually got some court time today.
Oh yeah.
This guy I know here in Austin's like invited me, so this is gonna be my second time playing. I thought I'd throw that out there.
I'm gonna try to get back into it.
Yeah, you moved to Austin, you trying to get some competition, man. Some pickleball competition. I'm not too bad.
Austin is rated the #1 pickleball city in Texas, actually, or maybe in the world, actually.
Dude, they're everywhere. I see like in the high rise stuff, there's a lot of people that like own the pickleball brands or they're like involved in pickleball, whether they're a player, they own a brand, company, media. Yeah, dude. I could like ride my bike on this little walking trail like 2 miles and I'll probably pass like 3, 4 pickleball facilities.
It's insane how fast it's growing, man. I think it'll be a sport in high school and college very soon.
Yeah. I mean, it probably is, dude.
Yeah.
Probably got clubs at a minimum and then sooner than later. We're talking about pickleball. I know pickleball for you is kind of an outlet, unplug a little bit. Besides getting out and being, I mean, honestly, it's like still being competitive. Like you're still putting pressure on yourself. Is there anything that you do to relax? I know you mentioned chill with a fiance, whatever, but like, how do you unplug, man? Because it's a lot going on for you.
That's the hardest thing at the end of the day is like just turning my brain off. Like, as you know, there's tons of group chats and messages and all these different things. And like, imagine like being a business owner, you operate your business, right? You have your sales, your marketing, your fulfillment, your customer, whatever that looks like. We're doing most of that across a ton of different teams, right? So there's a lot of different things going on. So that's the hardest thing is just like turning my brain off at the end of the day to stop like thinking about everything. But I try to play a little Madden every now and then, a little football. I chill with my family a lot, man. I'm a big family guy. Like my sister just had her second baby, so I got a nephew now. And yeah, just try to focus on family and friends and stuff like that, and just try to chill on the weekends as much as I can. The weekends calm down a lot.
Yeah, a lot of messages, a lot of Slack notifications. All right, I want to zoom out like a little bit more and just talk about your life. The name of this podcast, newsletter, brand, whatever is because of sales. Like when I say, the words like because of sales, like what comes to mind? Like, hey, because of sales, I'm able to do this. I was able to do this. I changed my life in this way. Like if you've never gotten into sales, like where are you? I'm just curious, like, coming all the way back to just learning the skill of sales, where that's led you or how it's changed your life.
I mean, it's everything. I mean, it's literally again, like I said, my key area of expertise or strategy in the business is essentially sales. Like that's what I do best. So I think it's relationships, it's everything. Like selling people to want to work with you and they have to enjoy working with you. I don't know what I would be doing if if it wasn't for sales. I mean, it's rewarded me my life. But also think about the trickle effect. If I don't get into sales, then I'm not running an agency. I'm not saying they wouldn't be doing something and they wouldn't be successful in their own rights, but what would everybody in the agency be doing right now? Like, and all the people that count on us and have these opportunities, like it has a big trickle effect, which is why I feel like everybody needs to try to, continue to achieve big things and do things. But yeah, man, sales has been everything. For me personally, I hate busy work. Like I don't want to sit there in the spreadsheets and like do all that kind of stuff. I'd rather just like engage with human beings and talk and build relationships and do those kind of things. And that's sales. So if you enjoy talking to people and like building relationships, then I don't think there's anything better.
Yeah. I think no matter who was listening to this episode, there's a lot to take away. I'm going to link all your stuff in the description and we're going to tag you on all the socials and stuff. But do you want to just tell people like your main platform where they can follow you, reach out to you, all that?
I don't post a ton on all platforms, but I will eventually post more. But Instagram, you could hit me on Instagram and Twitter, I would say I'm most active on. And then I have some YouTube videos. I'll be doing more. I'm trying to be better at that, but I've just been busy. But yeah, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, I would say primarily. And then if you're interested in potentially working with the agency or in the agency, I'm sure Dylan will link the website for that and you can closer, application setter, manager, anybody. We're always looking for talent.
Sweet. Yeah, all that stuff's going to be linked down below. I always say this to people, in the community that I run or just in the space in general. If you can find your way into an agency, a company like, the one that Cole's running or one similar, like it's one of the best insurance policies you can get for yourself in the high ticket sales space. So, there's a lot of commission only work. Commission only work when it's slow is zero, which is not fun. Zero doesn't pay the bills. So tap in with guys like Cole, or at least just reach out and make the introduction. If you're not looking now, get on the radar so that when something opens up and you need something, get in there. And even if you're in a different industry, dude, like, you and I both have hired people from completely different industries who came in and crushed it. So you never know, dude, like if you're working insurance right now and you get canned or you just like burn out or whatever, like you could jump over here, have a couple relationships and be doing all right. So
Yeah. I mean, obviously high ticket sales experience is great, but if you come from any relative industry of speaking to similar type people that we're dealing with and we have confidence that we could train you up, then by all means get in the database. It takes 5 minutes max to fill out an application form and just get in front of our radar. And then if opportunities arise, we'll reach out to you.
hell yeah. All right, you guys, we'll go follow Cole on the socials, get in the database if you're a sales rep or if you're a manager or anything like that. And we'll wrap it up here. We'll probably run another one back in the future with Cole, see what he's up to later. But appreciate y'all watching and thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. Peace.
All right, you guys. Hope you enjoyed that podcast with Cole. Again, that was long awaited. We were trying to do it in person, so we were pushing it off, but we were just like, dude, let's just run it remote, hear how it is, and get this to the people faster. And so if you guys listened all the way through, you definitely know what I'm talking about now when it comes to possibilities for the next level, going from earning 400K in a year as a sales rep to a lot more, managing multiple sales teams. It's possible. And if you're not in the high ticket industry, I'd imagine you could do this in software. I'd imagine you could do this in insurance. You could do this in pretty much any other industry. It might look a little different, but the idea is there and it's possible. So if you guys watched all the way through, I appreciate it. And before you go, my final ask, just go down below and subscribe to our free newsletter. If you sell something to somebody, you want to be on our newsletter because every week we're sending you the best of the best so you can stay up to date with what's really working for salespeople and not just being stuck to your old tactics that don't really work as well anymore. So subscribe to our free newsletter, first link in the description. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.